While the world talks about drones, gold, and satellites, there's a quieter force changing Burkina Faso from within, not the army, the police. Under Traoré, they're no longer just paperwork and uniforms. They've become the guardians of everyday sovereignty. One village, one street, one heartbeat at a time. They don't use missiles, they use presence. And that's why today, many foreign actors won't dare set foot on Burkinabè soil, because they know the state is back and it's standing in uniform. This isn't just law enforcement. This is a revolution built from the ground up, ready to discover the silent force that's shaking an entire system. Like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe now, so you don't miss the truth behind Traoré's most underestimated weapon. On August 4th, 2025, Burkina Faso appointed Traoré as the 27th national police chief since 1949. A long line of names, a history of broken trust. But this time, it wasn't about the title. It was about the shift. Traoré gave him a mission, not to control, but to reconnect. Don't reinvent the wheel, Traoré said. Accelerate. This police force wouldn't just enforce laws. They'd become a missing face of the state in places where the government once vanished. Traoré, once stationed in France with Interpol, returned not with power, but with a map, a strategic one, designed to plant flags of sovereignty in every forgotten corner. That's when the quiet reform became a national turning point. Back in 2022, Burkina Faso had lost control of more than 60% of its land. Entire regions went gray. The government disappeared. No schools, no hospitals, no police. In the eyes of the people, the state was gone. Fast forward to mid-2025. Burkina Faso now controls over 70% of its territory again. No airstrikes, no mercenaries, just a different kind of strategy. And surprisingly, it started with the police. They didn't come in with guns. They came in with presence. Under Traoré's orders, the police were told one thing. Don't wage war. Just show up. Everywhere the government used to be, everywhere people felt abandoned. They built new posts in old villages. Simple ones. Not military compounds, just places with a roof, a flag, a uniform, and a phone line that actually worked. They didn't come to control. They came to listen. That alone shifted everything. These weren't the police of the past. They became micro-outposts of sovereignty. They helped with birth certificates. They mediated disputes. They checked on families in need. They helped reopen local markets. And with each small act, they pushed back the fear that had ruled for too long. Traoré launched a new kind of unit, the Deep Zone Patrol. These are mobile officers, light gear, soft uniforms, all locally made. They didn't roll in with convoys. They rode motorcycles. They knew village paths. They knew who needed help. And they carried phones, not rifles. Each team had a map. Not a military map. A trust map. They marked out who the village leaders were, where recent robberies happened, which families were under threat, where the children had stopped going to school. From that map, they built a patrol rhythm that was unpredictable, making it harder for armed groups to feel safe. They weren't just enforcing law. They were rebuilding state memory. In areas where the government once vanished, police officers now know the names of street vendors. They attend weddings. They help during funerals. They celebrate harvests. In one region, the police station turned into a night school. In another, it became a food distribution center. They didn't ask for permission. They just showed up and filled the void. And that's when things started changing. Over 120 new police posts were built. More than 300 mobile patrol groups now operate across 11 provinces. Attacks on civilians dropped by nearly half compared to 2022. 200 village markets, once closed, have reopened. And the people, they no longer whisper. The police are here in fear. They call them by name. This wasn't war. This was a quiet takeover. But it worked. Because presence matters. Because the flag on your shirt means more when it's seen every day. Without fear. When asked why he used the police, not the army, to reclaim lost ground, Traoré said just one line. You don't need to fire a shot to reclaim sovereignty. You just need to stand there in uniform and be trusted. And now, in a country once torn apart, the police, yes, the police have become something no one expected. Not an iron fist, not a symbol of fear, but a living reminder that the state has returned, that it listens, that it remembers, and that it's never walking away again. To defend a nation, you can hire soldiers, but to rebuild a nation, you need your own people. Traoré understood that. That's why for him, recruitment wasn't about filling quotas. It was about restoring dignity. It was about who deserves to wear the uniform and why. Let's go back to 2022 when the country was falling apart. Who stood up? Not foreign troops, not private contractors, not even the full army. It was the volunteers, the farmers with no weapons, the students with no backup, the villagers who fought with nothing but belief. They held the line when the state was nowhere in sight. And when Traoré took power, he didn't forget them. He signed an order. All former volunteers are eligible for national police recruitment. No degrees, no written exams, just one question. Did you protect this land when no one asked you to? Then came the second wave, even deeper. The families left behind by war, the children of the fallen, the wives of the buried. More than 2,000 Burkinabè soldiers died between 2015 and 2023. Traoré said their legacy won't end in silence. The government created a fast-track path for the children of martyrs to join the police. In Kaya, 7 officers wear uniforms stitched with memory because their fathers never came back. They don't walk into villages like strangers. They walk in like family. And for locals, that makes all the difference. But Traoré wasn't just recruiting. He was reprogramming. Every new officer had to go through full retraining. Not just in shooting, not in marching, but in conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, data reporting, crowd dynamics, understanding how rumors work, learning to identify real threats from foreign manipulation. Most importantly, they all took a course called National Sovereignty designed by the Ministry of Security and the Strategic Research Institute. The goal is to help each officer understand what they're protecting. Not just people, but a future. And then came the uniforms. Before police gear came from Turkey, China, or Europe, imported, generic, sometimes even secondhand. Now every stitch is Burkinabè fabric woven in Kuduga boots crafted in Buo de Lasso belts buttons and hats designed locally with the national flag on the side. It's more than just clothes. It's a message. We don't wear borrowed sovereignty anymore. President Traoré in his speech at the Police Academy graduation. Let's talk numbers. Since 2023, Burkina Faso has added over 30,000 recruits to its national defense and security forces. 12,000 of them are police officers. The next phase will bring in another 10,000, mostly from former conflict zones and historically marginalized communities. They're not being rushed in. Each one is trained, prepared, and guided. They're not just recruits. They're seeds planted to regrow trust from the ground up. No foreign troops, no corporate security firms, no outside saviors. Burkina Faso is building its police force from the bloodline of its own struggle. From sons who never left. From widows who stayed strong. From young people who lost everything but still believe in rebuilding. Today, when a police officer knocks on a door, they're not seen as an outsider. They're seen as someone who lived the same pain. And that more than any weapon is how you build sovereignty that lasts. Modern wars don't begin with tanks anymore. They begin with rumors, fake news, deep fakes, leaked audio, messages spreading faster than bullets. Traoré knew this, and so he gave a new mission not to the army, but to the police. Protect this country's truth before we have to protect its borders. That's how ANR Police was born. It's a joint task force that combines local police with the National Intelligence Agency, known as ANR. They work side by side around the clock in every province. They scan social media. They flag dangerous keywords. They infiltrate closed groups and hidden channels. But this isn't about spying on citizens. It's about finding the outside hands, the ones stirring unrest from behind screens in other countries. Because he doesn't fear his own people. He fears manipulation. He built a new unit within the police, something never seen before, the digital police. They aren't built like old-school officers. They don't carry batons. They carry knowledge. They're trained in basic coding, IP tracking, trend analysis, debunking fake videos, detecting coordinated online attacks, and understanding how digital uprisings are manufactured. Each officer is assigned to a local region. They learn the digital landscape, who's talking, what's trending, who's influencing who, but they don't silence anyone. They don't delete voices. They watch, they map, they understand. So that when danger comes, it's no longer a surprise. All of this runs on Burkinabè servers. That matters because before national data passed through cloud services in the West, that meant private conversations, critical reports, even strategic maps were sitting on foreign servers. Not anymore. Now every report, every alert, every facial recognition scan stays in the country. The software was developed in collaboration with engineers from Burkina Faso, with quiet help from North Korean and Iranian technicians. No outsourcing, no Western backdoors, no strings attached. Each police station now has a soft alert system. If a certain topic spikes online, like coup, president death, or police betrayal, it sends a live flag to the provincial hub. From there, officers don't panic. They respond. They locate the source. They trace the chain. They diffuse before it ignites. But data isn't enough. You need people on the ground. So Traoré added another layer. The human sensors, teachers, shopkeepers, motorbike drivers, farmers, market vendors. Each police station formed small volunteer networks. Not snitches, not spies, just trusted citizens who quietly report what feels wrong. A stranger asking strange questions, suspicious new SIM cards in bulk, sudden gossip spreading too fast. They're not paid in money. They're paid in protection, in training, in trust. And because of them, the system doesn't just detect danger, it feels it. Before this, Burkina Faso was losing the information war. In 2023 alone, a fake video of a trial assassination went viral. Rumors of a government collapse hit the capital. Foreign agents posed as activists to stir chaos. Now, the country doesn't just defend itself, it strikes back. In one case, police traced a viral video back to a French server, then posted a full breakdown online exposing every step of the manipulation. The result? Confidence and clarity. This is more than policing. It's digital sovereignty, and it's changing everything because the battlefield is no longer a place. It's a narrative. It's what people believe and how fast that belief spreads. By making the police part of the national brain, not just a muscle tray, gave Burkina Faso something no foreign army can provide. A memory, a voice, a shield that listens. For most nations, borders are lines on a map. For Traoré, they are front lines. And he didn't guard them with foreign soldiers. He didn't sign defense pacts with NATO. He didn't rent mercenaries. He built his own wall with Burkina police. In February 2025, Traoré approved the creation of 5 border intervention police battalions stationed at key crossings near Mali, Niger, and Benin. They're not regular cops. They're not parade troops. They're light, fast, invisible if needed. Trained by North Korean advisors in anti-infiltration. Coached by Russian officers in urban tactics, embedded inside rural communities like shadows, but with a uniform, a flag, and a direct line to the presidency. Each battalion is its own unit. No backup needed. They work to stop threats before they cross, sometimes before they even form. But Traoré wasn't content with defending borders. He looked outward and formed the Sahel Expedition Group, a Burkina police unit with one bold mission. Step beyond the line to protect the line. They work across borders with the EES alliance. They track trafficking routes, follow weapons flows, identify rogue actors trying to destabilize the region. It's not war. It's sovereignty diplomacy carried out in boots, not suits. And for the first time, Burkina Faso's police operate beyond their homeland as a trusted force across West Africa. But Traoré didn't forget the capital. He faced at least 3 coup attempts in 2 years. Some came close. Too close. So he passed a new rule. All high-ranking police must be trained in anti-coup response. Not just bodyguard drills, but full protocols. How to detect suspicious movement. How to secure regional command centers. How to identify foreign interference before it starts. But here's the shift. These protocols aren't just for Ouagadougou. They're spread across the provinces. Every border zone now has its own rapid response cell tasked with protecting water infrastructure, communication towers, local governance posts, and civilian evacuation plans. In Traoré's Burkina Faso, national defense begins at the village gate, not the presidential palace. And Traoré himself, he's not watching from a bunker. He leads in boots. He visits border towns without cameras. He joins operations in silence. He's questioned captured spies personally. Why? Because his message is simple. Where there's a threat, there's me. And when a president walks the edge of his country, it tells every enemy something loud and clear. This land is not abandoned. This line will be held. Now, on dusty roads near the border, when locals see a police patrol pass, they don't look away. They nod because those officers aren't strangers. They're the new wall built not of concrete, but of trust, presence, and grit. When people talk about Burkina Faso, they mention drones, gold, uranium, satellites. But there's another revolution happening quieter, slower, deeper. The revolution of the police. Once ignored, once dismissed. Once wearing imported uniforms with no pride. Today they're back, but not as the old police. They're sons of martyrs, former volunteers, widows turned guardians, villagers who never left. They don't need big weapons. They carry something heavier. Trust. They patrol not with fear, but with presence. They don't knock down doors. They open new ones. And through them, the state isn't just enforcing law. It's restoring faith. This isn't about control. It's about belonging. So, if you believe a nation can rise again from the ground, from the people, from the stories no one tells, share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe so you don't miss the revolutions that don't make headlines. Because sometimes the quietest forces build the strongest foundations.